we were in more danger than we even realized that we were in.
I understand that you experienced the deceased Kevin Smith while a guest at one of his villas in Coral Gardens in Montego Bay, Jamaica. How did he introduce himself to you?
He showed up on the property, and we had rented the property from someone else, so we didn't know who he was. He just showed up like on the second day, and he had a lot of people with him, and he had them introduce, come and get me and say that someone wants to meet you. And I come out to the car, and he tells me that he is actually the owner of the property, and he came because somebody told him that people were on his property and he had no idea. And he was Kevin Antonil Smith, His Excellency Crown Bishop, and a doctor, and a whole bunch of other titles, and he just told us that he came because he didn't know we were there, and he didn't know what was going on, and he had issues with the previous owner. He started to pull up paperwork and documents on his phone and personal text messaging between him and her, which I thought was a little bit weird and a little bit unprofessional, but I was like, okay. He even went on to tell me that he had talked to his lawyer, and his lawyer told him that he needed to throw all of us out of the property. And he started asking me individually, who's there? I was like, oh, it's just me. And I actually started escorting people out. Like, this is my friend, Chris, this is my friend, these are her kids. So he saw everybody. I brought everybody out one by one. It was like, this is who's here. So he was like, oh, okay, well, I maybe since it's kids, I'm gonna do y'all a favor and I'm gonna let you stay here. But my lawyer said I should throw y'all out. And I did question that. I said, that's what
who did you rent it from?
We rented this property from Carlette Palmer in December. So we got there in 2020. So we rented in December 2019. So you have to do it months in advance. And we showed up February 2020, 21st, 2020. From Carlette Palmer through the Airbnb app. So we never met Bishop. We didn't know who he was. I communicated, and I even spoke to her, because normally you do everything through the app, but me and Carlette vibed and so much. We actually spoke on the phone a couple of times. We WhatsApped. So we built a relationship with Carlette before we ever got there, but all we ever knew was her. We came home one day from an excursion. Miss Diane, who was the only person other than some young boy. There was one young boy there, and Miss Diane when we got there. And, we bonded with her. We had a small baby. She got us a crib. She was very nice. The baby was cried a lot. She would help with the baby, so we liked her. So all we know is her. So when we pull up on this day, when Bishop is on the property, Miss Carlette is being fired. She has her bags packed, and, Bishop is telling us that she only told them about $80, which I don't understand the relationship in the first place, because I don't know that she even knew anything about this new owner of the property. But either way, or how he had the power to come in and fire the staff when, according to Miss Carlette, he didn't actually have possession of the property until February 27th. Miss Carlette produced a letter from her lawyer saying that sale was not final until February 27th, and we were due to be gone on February 26th. But either way, he came in, he fired her, he changed all the locks on the property, and he was telling us, oh, she's horrible, she stole the money, and that's what happened. So she left that day, and he replaced it with all of his these young boys, they no older than 25, all young boys. One stayed in the garage, one stayed in the other. The other one was in the kitchen. He called one of them a house manager. It was crazy, but that's what happened. We stayed February 21st, 22nd, 23rd, on the February 24th, because on the 22nd and 23rd, they had cut off the water, and they had cut off the hot water, and they cut off the air. I decided that I had spoke to them after they cut these things off and told them that I wasn't being treated fairly. I still come home the next day, and the air conditioner or the hot water, one of the other, was cut off. So that day I complained to the previous owner, the person, Miss Carlette, and she said, you know what, I'm going to move you guys, so when you get home today, pack your stuff. I got another house for you. It's not as great, it's not as grand, but this is wrong. This man is evil. It's not right. So when we got home on the 24th, we had went straight in and packed, and I go run down the driveway, and to Junior and another friend of Miss Carlette's, who were waiting for us on the outside of the gate with a car and a van to take us to the new property. And I noticed the gate is chained, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? The gate is chained. I don't know if Junior was standing there, so I don't know if he saw them chain it or whatever, but either way, I'm communicating with Junior, and I notice as I do that there is a small part of the fence that is low enough that we could possibly get over. So as soon as I noticed that, I turn and I start running back up the driveway and screaming to my family and friends, let's go. We getting out of here. So we start rolling the suitcases down the driveway, and with the children, because there was small children. My youngest daughter at the time was 7. My oldest daughter was 25. She was pregnant, and she had an 8-month-old baby. So we were putting an 8-month-old baby, a pregnant girl, a 7-year-old, 2 11-year-olds over this fence with these suitcases in this panic. So we get over, and then I'm very upset now. I'm talking to all the little boys because everybody's starting to kind of come down the driveway. The house boys and Sean, they're kind of like standing around, and I'm screaming to them like, you guys are wrong. You guys are evil. Why are you following this man's order? Why would you chain us? Why would you do that? So anyway, so here we are on the 24th when we finally get everybody over the gate, loaded up into the vans. I go straight to the Coral Gardens police station, which I believe kind of sits at the bottom of Montego Bay Hill or something. I don't know, because it wasn't far from where we were. We get there, I go inside, I speak to Officer E. Anderson, and he telling them what happened, and he gets on the phone and he calls Bishop, and he's talking to him as you see on the video, and he's asking, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to come here? Do you want to come there? And Bishop is on the phone lying and saying that we didn't pay. So I pull up our information. That's ridiculous. You have to pay in advance to get to Airbnb. To even enter the property, you have to have paid up in full. So anyway, we get in the car, we go back, we send the children off to the new property that Miss Carlette provided for us, and we go back with the police, and they're at the gate, as you see in the video, and Bishop is saying, oh, they're not allowed on my property, and they this, and I want to talk to you. The police is saying, I'll let you in, the police officers, but they can't come in. They don't, so my friend is saying, well, that's ridiculous. He wants to talk to them in private. Why does he want to speak to them in private? So eventually they convinced him to let us all walk right to the driveway inside the gate. There's a little gate he opens, and we're all standing there, and Bishop is just talking nonsense. He's just talking about the dispute between him and Miss Carlette and the property, and how they wanted to inspect the property before we left. Like, when you check out of a hotel, and okay, this is the thing, when you check out of a hotel, that's why they get your credit card for incidentals. So if you drank from the mini bar, you steal a pillow, then they just send you a bill. They don't chain you in the property until you can't leave. That's ridiculous, So he was just saying all that kind of stuff. So the police just turned to me. I guess, they just got tired of listening, and they turned to me and was like, you know what? There's nothing we can do. You need to contact the previous owner, because he talked more about the dispute. It kind of made the police believe that that's what it was about. And I kept saying, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous. I don't care what dispute they have. You don't chain us in the property. You don't turn the water off on them. Because even if there is a dispute, even if Miss Carlette was wrong, that doesn't turn you into the type of person that will falsely imprison some women and children and tell them they can't leave. There's two different types of people. That you go to court with her and fight her for the Airbnb money if you feel you rightfully own it. What does that have to do with you making a decision to tell them to chain us in the property? And the question that I've always had is, what were you going to do with us?
You feel now, knowing what you now know?
Unbelievably grateful. Unbelievably grateful. Let me tell you something. It's a reason this all came back full circle. You understand? Because I never would have known what danger we were actually in, or whose presence we were actually in, somebody who's capable of the things that he has now done. You know what I'm saying? We never would have thought that. Honestly, the worst case scenario we really thought is that they were going to try to force more money out of us. That's, we had no idea this man is capable of this. That's unbelievable. So I am so grateful, to be honest, knowing that I followed my instinct, because I could have easily just been like, it's too much hassle. We'll just stay here. I could have easily not followed my intuition and not got everybody over that gate. But I'm so glad I did. I am so glad I did. Now that I'm finding this out, I realize that we were in more danger than we even realized that we were in. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part that makes me emotional, because it's like, Lord have mercy. God, if I didn't know that you were real and that you really protect me and my family, from what could have happened to us, I know now, So I'm just grateful. I'm so grateful. At first, when I came home, I contacted a few newspapers and I tried to call a couple of lawyers, because I was going to go back and prosecute. But I got so much negativity and so many death threats from Jamaicans. Understand? Now, make no mistake, I say this all the time. There were so many Jamaicans that were kind and loving and wonderful people we met. But after I got home, I got threats and death threats, and said if I stepped foot back into Jamaica, that they were going to kill me. You understand? So I decided to let it go. It wasn't worth it. Me and my family were back in America, and that's why I never proceeded from there. But I did reach out to the embassy, and they never responded. I did. Every Jamaican.
Because the embassy never responded. The Jamaican High Commission.
Yes, I wrote letters. I wrote letters to them. And nobody cared about what happened to us. So I let it go. And the fact that so many Jamaicans was like, you lying, what were you doing there? Just a whole bunch of negativity, and now that this has come back, full circle. Like I have to keep saying, there's a lot of kind Jamaicans who have reached out to me. It's a lot of kind people, because I had made the statement that I would never go back. I would never return, because it felt like the police didn't care. It felt like they didn't give a darn about what happened to us. You know what I'm saying? How do you not write it down? How do you not investigate? How do you not care that this man gave the order to chain us in the property? How do you not care about that? So I did not feel that they had our back or cared about anything at all. And I did not feel safe in returning to try to prosecute him, which is why I let it go.
Do you think you'll still never come back to Jamaica? Do you think?
I don't think I can. I had a great time. We went to the Dance River Falls. We went everywhere, but I can't, because it was as many Jamaicans that were kind. It was just as many. If you read through the comments on some of my videos, it was just as many that were mean, that were evil, that were telling me it was my fault, that were, it was ridiculous. And no, if anybody, time somebody tell you, if you return here, we'll kill you. No, I'd be a fool to ever go back.